everybody, Smalls here, and I know it's pretty much almost extremely late, but I do want to talk about this topic, mainly just because it's a big topic. Alright. Basically, the entire Dragon Ball Super fandom right now is, I guess it would be an understatement to say, a tad upset or confused, but extremely upset or confused over Android 17's power and how he could match Super Saiyan God. Now, of course, the day of, people were just confused. Within the first day or two, people were pulling out theories. Within the next couple days after those, people were debunking theories. And now, nearly a week later, I can say, Toei does not care. Now, I'm not saying, actually, it's kind of shitty, but, how do I put it? Let's not overthink everything? No, I'm not trying to piss off anybody. I'm actually just trying to say, from a standpoint that, yes, I do tend to think things through a little bit more, but at the same time, I feel like overthinking things can lead to just as big of a mess. But you know what? Here's what I have to say to overthinking the things in Dragon Ball Super. First of all, how many times have we had to do that? Like, how many holes has Toei left in massive leaps of logic, period, in Dragon Ball Super's run so far? In the anime alone. The manga has just a few retcons at best right now. And people are very up in arms about those retcons. Not to downplay them or anything. But at the same time, there's not anything like what the anime has been giving us. That's just huge leaps in logic that the fan base has had to, off of headcanon and a bunch of other shit, have had to fill in because Toei just hasn't filled it in. So, why is that? Now, I don't want to get off track. We're going to get to 17 soon, but there was one discussion recently that actually made a little bit more sense. It was more about boosts and power. But I'm not going to harp off of this video. Heck, I'm not even going to say who the video was made by. I'm just going to say that during the early to mid days of the 5 or so days that's been since episode 86 dropped, I have been thinking something similar, just a lot less direct. Although listening to said discussion did make things crystallize a little bit more in my already near-finished thought process. But how do I put it? How do I put it? It's not the first time someone has gotten so strong. And I'm not even going to go into... Actually, no, I have to go into it. I have to. I absolutely have to. Everyone that we've seen so far during this arc, in terms of people on the Universe 7 team, have had to actually go up against Super Saiyan Blue. Personally, I feel like Toei is just spamming it because it's marketable. Don't get me wrong. I know a lot of people like to think that there are other ways, such as, Super Saiyan Blue lowering the power level and shit. But honestly, as much as that makes quote-unquote sense, you actually have to overthink it. Go back arcs before to go find a vague, quote to use off of that. And then blah, blah, blah. No, I'm pretty sure Toei's not thinking that much about it. So, that's one headcanon way to put it, but we call headcanon for a reason. I'm not even going to go into it. I'm just saying it's called that for a reason, and anyone who uses the term headcanon knows exactly what I'm talking about. Basically, actually, let me go a little bit into it. Headcanon, we take previous facts that might not be directly insinuated, and just put them through the world's logic based off of those facts. However, when we keep going further into our headcanon, unfortunately some facts get not based off of actual facts, but off of headcanon that came off of actual facts, or even worse, headcanon that came off of headcanon that came off of headcanon. The list can go on. So, I try not to get too far into headcanon. Sadly, there is a tiny bit of headcanon in my thought process, and that is the fact that it, I don't want to say makes sense at 17. Out of all of them who's had to go up against Super Saiyan Blue, makes sense. But, unlike most things where you have to go back a couple arcs and look at dialogue, in episode 86 itself, Goku said he didn't want to go into this form. And if we disregard a lot of the key control headcanon, like, basically, he couldn't go Super Saiyan 2, and it would be fair, or not fair, it wouldn't be as effective. Or Super Saiyan 3 would be as effective as Blue. In other words, he's saying that 17 himself, while still holding back, because 17 still is holding back, is powerful enough to warrant at least somewhere between Super Saiyan Blue and Super Saiyan 3. And yes, some people say Super Saiyan God, and I agree with that. Remember, this is the anime. We're going through the anime's logic. Unfortunately, Toei is not Toei Otaro, and Super Saiyan God has not been touched upon and will not be touched upon until they decide to take that route and show it otherwise, which I kind of doubt they will, because like I said, Super Saiyan Blue is extremely marketable. It's got that merchandise. You got to think of that, which is extremely absurd when you think of how little that money would actually go to animators. I digress! Where was I? Yes, I was trying to go towards Super Saiyan 17. Not Super Saiyan 17. That would be fucking... excuse me. Oh, God. It's funny, it's 420. My mindset's all over the place, and I haven't even smoked weed. Not that I will. I don't celebrate this shit. 420 is just another day. That also happens to be Hitler's birthday and the anniversary of Columbine. Ooh, 420, huh? Back on track. In a similar case, actually, to 17, there was Frieza. However, then you have to think, what kind of training did Frieza do? And in that similar notice, you have to think, what kind of training did Android 17 have to do? But when you at least... Because, actually, in a way, because you don't know what kind of training either of them could have done, you can, believe it or not, actually make it even further paralleled to Frieza. And ironically, while many people should have had a similar, question in their mind as what they're doing now with 17, back when Frieza did it in Resurrection F and the arc that covered those events. But in the end, no. Everyone just kind of accepted. That's the thing, though. It was explained a lot better. It was played up a lot better. But when you take the two characters together, you gotta realize, yeah, Frieza was a prodigy, and while it hasn't been stated outside of GT that 17 has that kind of potential, you can, at the very least, say that 17 was supposedly supposed to be stronger than Android 18, even if just marginally. And while most people would make the joke of him farming XP from all those poachers, no, that definitely wouldn't make any sort of a challenge. At the best, it would make it so that he doesn't get rusty. But then again, Krillin being a cop and then actually getting rusty, despite how action-packed his day seems, would prove otherwise as well. So obviously it's not the poachers. He's actually had to do training, which wouldn't really make too much sense. Then again, who knows how much time he had before he got married, and so on, and blah, 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 blah. What I'm saying is, let's not get into the details of his training. It hasn't been specified, and it probably won't be specified, just like Frieza's. So there we go. If anything, we can at least go off the fact that before training, 17 was still stronger than Frieza was at the time. Frieza did 4 months of training. Copy that, couple that with the fact that he is a prodigy. Fine, that makes sense. Couple 10 years of potential training with 17, who was already a Super Saiyan level being. And while not up to like 2nd grade or full power or Super Saiyan 2 level, he was still a threat to take on Piccolo after fusing with Kami. So we have to think, 17's not weak by any stretch of the standards, from at least that standpoint. Of course, we never actually got to see him again, which was ironically touched upon in the fact that he has never actually met Goku. He said it himself, he never met Goku. So, there's that. There's that. Either way, him getting stronger makes a bit more sense than the others. Although, thinking back, while people like Krillin have still been at a much weaker level than Super Saiyan, and probably still can't compete with Super Saiyan, someone like Android 17, if they were to train, they'd get a lot stronger, like Boo, for example. Then again, we don't know the exact limits of Boo's power. We just know some backstory and how strong he is naturally. But getting to the point of everything is just 17 could feasibly, within 10 years, get that strong. Does it make complete sense? No. But, remember, Toei's already left a bunch of holes for us to fill in. Does most of the shit they do make sense? Fuck no, it doesn't. So, in the end, all we can really say is, what can we say? Oh, yeah. That everything is bullshit. Not like power levels are bullshit. That's not even a real quote, from what I know. Like, it became a meme more than a quote is definitely true. But, honestly, power in general, scaling. Just because power levels don't get mentioned anymore once it surpassed the millions, power scaling is still something. Now, I'll admit that when 17 was first introduced, I thought that at the best he would be like Boo level. Because, you know, that's somewhat feasible. Because Piccolo is another one. But then again, Piccolo doesn't have a family and a job. Him training his ass off makes a little bit more sense. But then again, it's not like he spent the whole time in a pressurized chamber like Vegeta, or he just stayed in the Room of Spirit and Time the entire time either. He trained normally on Earth, while he could spend a lot more time doing so. Then again, considering that Android 17's not exactly with his family at the moment, now I'm going to have to go into a little bit more headcanon territory, sadly. But regardless, this might not be the first job he's been on his own. And it's not like the poachers are literally firing bullets 24/7. Will they come back so often that it might seem daily? Yes. But does that mean he won't have downtime to call his wife or train on his own? No. If anything, if he's in certain secluded areas, he might actually have a good area for training. Although he has to hold back a teensy bit so not to kill the animals. As long as he stays up in the air. And for all I know, he could probably sense power by now. I don't know. Then again, the last big fight we ever got to see him with, he was actually enjoying it. So while he's definitely no longer evil by any stretch of the means, could he, like Goku, like fighting? Oh, definitely. I mean, it's Dragon Ball Z. Everyone deep down, to some extent, who fights, loves to fight. Hell, even Yamcha kind of nearly jumped at the chance to be in the Tournament of Power. Although he kind of jumped at the wrong angle. But what do you guys think about this? Because I'm done going on about this. I feel like I'll digress more and more with each minute. So, I'll end the theory here. You guys tell me more. And if you guys want to see more, there's my social media, another good video for you, and some Dragon Ball Super related stuff down on the bottom right. And don't forget to check out my Patreon, which is new, and subscribe if you already aren't. Till next time, I'm Smalls. Later.